I'm Bobby Dean, and you're watching Dante's
Boxing Nation.
Boxing Nation.
So I was wondering, how is Bernard Hopkins going to respond to this news? How is he going to talk about this situation without completely contradicting himself? And there's no way he can do it. Bernard Hopkins, he did an interview where he was asked to give his take on Devin Haney suing Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy. Now, it's completely understandable that he's going to defend his boss, Oscar De La Hoya, but what he said about Devin Haney's situation completely contradicts what he originally said before he found out that Ryan Garcia tested positive for PEDs. So once again in this interview, when he's asked about the whole situation with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, you could tell that he doesn't originally want to come out and give his take. Originally, he kept saying, well, you hear what the fans are saying. I'm just going to leave it at that. You hear what the fans are saying, and the fans, they pay for the tickets, pretty much implying that the fans, they'll never buy another Devin Haney ticket because he's suing Ryan Garcia, which we know that's not the case at all, because the most racist fans, they buy their tickets before anybody else does. And it's always been this one since the inception, going all the way back to Muhammad Ali. Racists will always buy tickets because the sport is based on race. Some fans root for their country, and some fans just root against the black fighter no matter who he's fighting against, particularly in America. So back to Bernard Hopkins' interview. At the beginning of the interview, he didn't want to say exactly what the fans were saying about Devin Haney suing Ryan Garcia, and then eventually he finally said it. Check it out.
It ain't a question, for me, it's a question that we already know, because there's a time you move on, or you stay stuck and you're traumatized. I can tell you, even though you didn't ask me, I never experienced in my time or the time before mine, they gotta be like the Hagler and the Leonards and things, where the fighter got his ass kicked and sued. I mean, again, y'all, people gonna get mad at me, but no, why he said that he cheated. I never seen, I mean, is this it? No, you said that. I'm gonna say what I said again, so everybody won't get it confused. I thought I never, and he said it this way, I thought I would never see a fighter literally gets his ass kicked and turn around and sue months later. I mean, this gotta be, I hope it ain't the generation, because I respect this generation to a point. But I hope we ain't getting into this generation and going forward where this become contagious. I think it's a bad look personally, but what do I know? What do I know?
Yeah, this is probably a stupid question, but a lot of people saying that.
Well, listen, never ask me a stupid question.
Okay, I won't ask you.
Because a stupid question gets you indicted.
Yeah,
I'm not the feds or the cops.
I was gonna ask about Bill Haney. Some of the fans are calling him out, being that he's quote unquote from the street, that he's gonna lose street credibility with this lawsuit. Which is your thoughts on that? You yourself coming from a hard upbringing.
So they look at it as like stitching. I mean, not stitching, stitches. You can't get stitches for it. But they look at it as like snitching or call him, foul or whatever. But depending on who you talk to. I think the proper word is opportunities.
Okay, so let's first start with this. You guys hear the Mexican guy with the strong Mexican accent asking Bernard Hopkins, some people say that Bill Haney, he's going to lose street cred for suing. Well, I forgot his name, but back when I was still in Las Vegas and I was covering fights, he was working for Ellie Setback, so he would be there at the fights, covering the fights with me. And this was around the time that Sergey Kovalev had called Adonis Stevenson a monkey. And I remember we were leaving an event and I was talking to him about the Sergey situation, and he was defending Sergey Kovalev, saying it wasn't racist at all. So I tell you this just to give you guys an idea of the type of people that are there asking these fighters questions. Moving on. So Bernard Hopkins, he says, this is the first time I've ever seen something like this. First time I've ever seen a boxer sue somebody after he got his ass whooped. That's the only thing I agree with Bernard Hopkins. This is the very first time. Just like there was a very first time a fighter had ever requested Olympic-style random drug testing for him and his opponent. And that was Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather pioneered Olympic-style drug testing in the sport of boxing today. And it's just so ironic that the exact same people that are criticizing Devin Haney right now were criticizing Floyd Mayweather back then. You have so many people saying that Floyd Mayweather was soft. Why don't you just fight Manny Pacquiao? Who cares if he's on steroids or not? Even HBO's Larry Merchant said that. They sided with the cheater just like they're siding with the cheater today. Now, just for the record, for some of you guys who don't know, back when Floyd Mayweather was once again negotiating to fight Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather had agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's demands back in 2008. It wasn't until Floyd Mayweather requested Olympic-style drug testing that Manny Pacquiao pulled out of the fight. Then Manny Pacquiao, he came back to the negotiating table and he said, well, how about, you give me a cutoff date. You give me a cutoff date of 30 days before the fight. Meaning he didn't want to be tested 30 days before the fight. And Floyd Mayweather said, hell no. Then Manny Pacquiao's people, they said, okay, well, how about 14 days before the fight? And then you could test me after the fight. This is what Manny Pacquiao said. Floyd Mayweather rejected that. And that's when Manny Pacquiao finally walked away from the fight. Not only was Floyd Mayweather protecting his own health, but this was also to deter people in the future from cheating. Floyd Mayweather's sacrifices in the sport was supposed to prevent what happened in April with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Unfortunately, it didn't. Now, Bernard Hopkins, he would continue in that interview by saying, basically, you're supposed to settle it in the ring. And then he said, if we do a poll right now to ask how many people want to see the rematch, a lot of people will say they want to see it. Now, that's real funny as well, because I remember before this fight was even announced that Devin Haney was going to fight Ryan Garcia, everybody was trashing the fight. Everybody was already assuming that Devin Haney was going to win easy. Even Mexican fans were accusing Devin Haney of avoiding Sabriel Matias, Shakur Stevenson, basically accusing him of cherry-picking Ryan Garcia. And then something else funny happened. Right after Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney, before we found out that he tested positive for PEDs, everybody was saying they didn't want to see a rematch. Devin doesn't deserve a rematch in a fight that was so one-sided. This is what everybody was saying, including Ryan Garcia. All of a sudden, when we find out he tests positive, now everybody is saying, oh, there has to be a rematch. Why don't you settle it with a rematch? So not only are a lot of these fans really being disingenuous, but nobody is being more disingenuous than Bernard Hopkins. For Hopkins to come out and say you're supposed to settle this in the ring, listen to what Hopkins said before we found out that Ryan Garcia cheated. Here's a clip of Bernard Hopkins being asked if Devin Haney will ever be the same fighter. Will he ever be able to recover?
Absolutely not. Can I give you a case in point? You got to promise me when we get off this, you will go look this fight up and you will see what I'm talking about as that fight went on and what happened eventually at the end. Meldrick Teller and Julio Cesar Chavez. Meldrick Teller wasn't the same. Devin Haney will not be the same in spite of what Bill is trying to fabricate and damage control conversations days after. See, that fight Saturday night, the punishment, round by round by round by round, that was 5 fights for Devin Haney. He fought 5 separate fights that he was supposed to fight. After that fight, it's been in one night.
So here's the question. If you're comparing Devin Haney's career to Meldrick Taylor, you're saying this is another Meldrick Taylor situation. Meldrick Taylor's career was practically over after that Chavez fight. And once again, as Hopkins put it, Meldrick Taylor was never the same anymore. But the difference is Devin Haney, he was fighting someone on steroids. Everything that Bernard Hopkins just said in that clip I played for you guys, That audio can be played in a court of law to help Devin Haney's case. And obviously Bernard Hopkins, he didn't say that to help Devin Haney's future case. The reason why Bernard Hopkins said that at the time was because everyone was under the impression there was not going to be a rematch, because nobody knew at that time that Ryan Garcia cheated. I want to wrap this video up by bringing up a point I forgot to mention earlier on, when I was telling you guys about the Mexican reporter asking Bernard Hopkins, does Bill Haney lose street credibility because he's suing? It's pretty rich when you think about the fact that Bernard Hopkins said, don't ask me no stupid question. And that was a very stupid question. Because Bill Haney, he ain't in the streets. He lives in a mansion in a suburban neighborhood. He ain't committing no crimes. He ain't putting in no work. So it's such a stupid thing to say, especially from a reporter. You would never hear a real reporter say something like that. I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to encourage Bill Haney to put a hit on Ryan Garcia? Because if you're talking about street shit, that goes beyond the ring. But even real people, even real thugs from the street, they sue as well. When they get beat up by the cops, when their rights are violated, when they get thrown in prison for a crime that they did not commit, you better believe it's going to be a lawsuit coming. I mean, even Canelo Alvarez, man. Canelo Alvarez is from the streets. I know a lot more about Canelo than you guys think. Canelo hangs around with killers that he grew up with, and yet he sued DAZN. And I didn't hear no Mexicans say nothing like, hey man, but Canelo, aren't you from the streets? At the end of the day, we know what time it is. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodkey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs and defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.